Once a year, the remote rocky residence where pelicans procreate in Utah receives a few guests. Bird banding. Volunteers and wildlife crews sail through the pink waters of the North Arm to tag pelicans for migration tracking.
The colony off Gunnison Island is used as an indicator of what's happening in the Great Salt Lake, and even after a tremendous water and snow year, there's still cause for concern.
But this year could be the last of the banding trips. Fewer fledglings means trouble. ABC has been on this trip several times in the last few years with crews banding 500 pelicans. This year, it was a struggle to band 75.
It's kind of a bummer to come out here and have fewer birds than we've had in years past. I mean, water is super important. I know there have been predators coming out on the island now, and yeah, it's just kind of sad to see that happen.
Water and predators, two major pelican rookery factors, both influenced by our weather.
We've predicted this would happen the last few years, and it hasn't. We've been lucky. The birds have still survived, even though conditions were good for coyotes to access this island, and this year we just weren't as lucky.
John Luft of the Great Salt Lake Ecosystem Project says while many of us rejoiced in a snowy winter and wet spring, the Great Salt Lake only rose 2 feet.
It kept us from going to an all-time low, but still we're in dire straits as far as lake level goes.
Lack of water matters to these pelicans. Gunnison Island changes to a peninsula with dry conditions. A land bridge allows for coyotes to feed on these young. Images caught on camera on this private island, video caught by our camera in a previous trip.
We would normally produce 4,000 or 5,000 chicks, and this year we produced maybe 500 at best.
Our wet spring left fresh water and puddles on the island as well. That allowed coyotes to stay longer and meant birds were breeding later. Love says we would need 5 consistent years of wet weather to get the lake back to where it once was. In the meantime, our contribution to the pelican population remains meager.
We're basically down to nothing here, so I'm hoping that things bounce back just for the sake, as a kind of a way to say that the lake is doing better.
Pelicans and the breeding was also restricted to the northern end of Gunnison Island this year. The southern end has easier access to predators, and biologists say that could be one of the reasons we're seeing fewer numbers. Reporting on Gunnison Island, I'm Alana Brophy, ABC4 News.